Hi there, I'm Becky Hammond and welcome to Isogo TV, where we are using StrengthsFinder to fuel the marriage connection we crave, the parenting grace we need, and the work energy that flows from a happy home. Today, you are joining me for Isogo TV episode 60. And during this mini-series here, we are actually only one episode away from the end. We are exploring the ins and outs of how to really connect more deeply with your spouse using your strengths to get there. So if this is the first episode that you've joined us for, there are 6 other episodes before this that I would love to have you explore as well. Also, be sure to grab the 34 Ways to Connect free PDF over at isogostrong.com/34connect. This free resource will help get your mind flowing about how to use your spouse's strengths to connect at a deeper level and to delight him or her in a really surprising way. So I'm excited for what's in store for us today. Let's dive in. When we got married, we had pretty big ideas about creating a system of regular date nights and weekends away. We had friends and mentors who created an almost sacred day of the week that nothing else could move that date night. And we thought, yeah, that's what we'll do. Well, 17 years later, I can safely say that we are still figuring out what our date nights really need to look like. And it certainly has not been as consistent as we thought, nor as easy to schedule and commit to as we expected. We have some really great examples around us of people that just seem to make it work, peers and mentors who are just faithful to their date nights. And as for us, I think we're still getting there. We have a long time still, right? And the reason it's still something that we're striving for is because it really is so important. Intentional time to connect one-on-one without the distraction of daily life. It's a cornerstone of a lasting and deeply connected marriage. But what we do well, though, when we finally do schedule that date night, is ensure that we use it well, or we try to. We've all seen plenty of couples who are out to dinner both with their heads in their phones, and it just makes me so sad to see. So let's change that scenario with these 3 ways to make your marriage date nights a success. So, number 1, remember, it's a date, not a business meeting. We've talked a lot in our Isogo TV Balance mini-series about the frenetic pace of our lives. So, when it comes to date nights, it's easy to default to use them to close all those loose ends of the daily ins and outs that just kind of end up being a part of our balance and a part of our rhythm. Like who is paying which bill and what the schedule looks like for the next 2 weeks, or the 21 household projects that need to get done. But this is a date, not a business meeting. It's a time that you've worked hard to carve out so that you can connect more deeply in your marriage, not build a better business partnership with each other. David and I do use our dates to be sure that we're on the same page, but then we put it all aside and try to focus on how life is really going for each of us in our hearts and our minds, not our calendars and our checkbook. So choose to leave your calendars in your pockets for the most part and connect beyond the logistics of your daily lives and family operation. Then, the second way to ensure your marriage date nights are a success is to focus on strengths, not weaknesses. And this one is big for us, even more so recently as we've navigated a lot of family change over the past several years. Use the date nights not to air out the laundry list of complaints, but rather to reorient our minds towards each other's strengths. We do this by mentioning and encouraging each other's strengths throughout the evening when they come to our minds, and by intentionally holding our tongues on the things that we might see as weaknesses. Another helpful way to focus on strength during that date night is to be sure that you have some version of your strengths with you when you head on out. Recently, I added mine to the home screen on my phone as a constant reminder. If you're new at this whole strengths language thing, you could even just practice explaining your strengths to each other. That's one of the 9 steps to life change in our signature course. So getting practice during date nights would be all the better. And then finally, the third way to make the date night with your spouse a success is to ask intentional questions. Sometimes once we've committed to not making our date night a business meeting, we can just kind of stare at each other, wondering what to talk about. And there's a ton of pinned resources out there about great conversation starters to get some help in engaging with good questions. Recently, I've been excited to pull out Isogo's Dare to Dialogue conversation card deck. At the beginning of this year, we created a set of strengths-oriented, fun, and connecting questions that you can ask around your conference table or your dinner table. We gave them out to all of our customers, friends, partners at Isogo, and they've been a hit. And since then, we've found that date nights are just the place for them. The questions range from fun and silly to deep and meaningful, and it's certain that each one gives you insights that you would not have otherwise thought to ask for, or maybe if you did think of it, you'd feel awkward in doing so. So we gave away some of these decks on Instagram, and we have some more that we'd love for you to have as well. So you can explore more about that and get your deck over at isogostrong.com/dare2dialogue. Okay, so those are the 3 ways to make your marriage date nights a success. Remember, it's a date night, not a business meeting. Focus on strengths, not weaknesses, and ask intentional questions. So, your challenge for this week is A, put that date night on the calendar. And then B, choose at least one, if not all 3 of these things to do to make your next date night even more connecting. Then next week, we get into our final episode of the Isogo TV Marriage Miniseries. In the 8th and final episode, we get to explore the 5 secret ways to meet your spouse's needs. It's game-changing, so be sure not to miss it. All right, I am so glad that you chose to tune in here with me today on Isogo TV. And as we wrap up, I just wanted to remind you to, in case you haven't already, be sure to get your free copy of the 34 Ways to Connect free PDF over at isogostrong.com/34connect. And if you found some part of this episode thought-provoking or interesting to your own marriage, or you could relate in some way, I would love to hear from you. The best way to do that is over on our Energy Up, Frustration Down Facebook group, where the whole community can see the questions that you have or the celebrations that you have started to experience in your marriage through your strengths. I would also love to have you snap a pic and meet with us over on our Instagram community by tagging us at Isogo Strong. Thank you for joining me here today, and hope that just by listening today, you have one idea that you can take to enhance the way that you connect in your marriage through your strengths. And I'll see you next week for the very last episode in this marriage mini-series here on Isogo TV.